Welcome to the hobby, new board gamer. If you're wondering, hey, I got a shelf, I want to put some games on it, start this collection, in our humble opinion, these are 10 great games to start with.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I am Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and we're going to talk about today, as Mikey said, 10 great games that you can start your collection with. So these are not necessarily going to be the first 10 games you should ever play in your life. These are going to be 10 games if you're starting a collection, like maybe you played some games at a friend's house or a relative's house,
You've
something
dipped
like
toes
that.
in.
You've dipped your toesies in and you want to start your own collection. We think these are 10 great games to do so. These are going to be spanning a bunch of different board game mechanisms, so lots of different ways to play, lots of different kinds of games, some different weight levels as well. They're not all going to be completely beginner games. None of them are going to be super crazy heavy. But we want to kind of span it, like, hey, if you only have a 10-game collection, we think this is a really good one. Lots of variety, lots of different ways to play. We're going to have another 10 games, great games, over on our Patreon. You can check that out.
So if you're starting a collection, that means you're a board gamer. You should probably support your board game content creators, right?
You probably should. You probably should.
Patreon, get some merch, put it on the body. Links and stuff down below for all that stuff. And I'm not going to lie to you. These 10 games, bangers.
Bangers, all bangers. Hey everybody, I just want to pop in here and please implore you to like and please subscribe to the channel. If you like what we do, please hit that subscribe button. Recently, YouTube has been like messing with the algorithm and it's getting incredibly hard to get our videos and really every creator's videos out to basically anyone. And so the best way to show that YouTube that you're liking what we do is to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. It really does help us a lot, especially in these weird times where we're just struggling to get out to anybody, it seems like. So hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. And look how sad that Mike is. Look how many versions of Mike are sad that you're not subscribed. You should do it. All right, number one is going to be Fromage. Fromage is, sorry, number 10, not number 1. You don't get number 1 yet. That's
you
crazy.
wish you'd get
We're
that.
going 1 to 10 here. No, number 10 is going to be Fromage. This is a really interesting game. And like we kind of talked about, we're going to have some games that hit a bunch of different mechanics and mechanisms and things like that, different ways to play, and this kind of hits a whole bunch of them. Fromage is a really interesting game all about cheese.
Making cheese.
Love some cheese. And this is a really cool game because it's got a little bit of worker placement, which is where you have a set of workers, and to do various actions in the game, you'll put them on various locations around the board. It's got a simultaneous play where everyone's kind of playing at the exact same time, which again is very different if you haven't played a lot of board games.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. It's got this circular board, so the board itself is going to be rotating. It's into 4 quadrants, and whatever quadrant is in front of you is where you'll be taking your actions. So you don't have to worry about the rest of the board and what everyone else is doing. They've got their own section of the game to play with. And what you're doing is you're making cheese. You're making cheese and putting it into the different quadrants of the board, each of which has its own kind of way of scoring, how you want to kind of arrange everything. And what's really kind of fun is that you have 3 workers. Each one is a cheese specialist. You have one that only does soft cheese. I'm just a soft cheese guy. One that does hard cheeses, one that does blue cheeses. And the various spaces in each section of the board are going to show specific types of cheeses. So I need to have that worker available to be able to play that, because this spot right here that I need to go to can only take soft cheese, for example. Each cheese also is going to be aged for 1, 2, 3 months. The 3-month spots are definitely more valuable than the 1-month spots, but for every basically month that it's going to be aged, that's going to be a turn that you don't have that worker available. They're going to hop on the merry-go-round and they're going to take a couple of turns before they come back to you. So if it's a 2-month aged cheese, it'll take 2 turns before it returns. So you're kind of balancing what, quadrants you're focusing on. Like, where are you trying to place your cheese and stuff to maximize the scoring of each quadrant? Are you trying to, focus on just a couple of them? And you're also trying to figure out the kind of timing of those workers of like, how much am I willing to invest here? If I make this cheese, it's a 3-month, it's a gold, standard cheese, it's going to be really awesome, but I'm going to have to wait 3 segments without that cheesemaker. So then I can't place on any of those spots that cheesemaker can do while they're unavailable. You're also gathering resources. Certain cheeses are fruited cheeses and cheeses that are paired with jam. There are buildings you can construct, which will give you sometimes a worker placement spot, a perpetual ability, end game scoring, stuff like that. It's really fun. It's just kind of a unique board system where the board keeps rotating.
And each of those quadrants is eventually a different mini game that you're playing. They all score differently. They all do different things. So it's kind of interesting. And then there's more of those kind of markets. You can even like, There's another game called Formaggio, which you can combine with this one to like mix stuff up even more. But it's got this really great mix of like a really wonderful like theme, really great art, interesting mechanics, and a great gimmick. That gimmick is that big board and those workers that go on there, and that need to prioritize, like how important is it that I get this big one, because I'm then going to lose this worker for 3 rounds, which is a lot. It's got a great, just everything about it's really, really fun, and it's a really good kind of like medium weight-ish one to have in your collection. You can teach to most new gamers. It's got just a lot going for it, and people just seem to really, really enjoy it. Next up, ooh, wow, we even did a joint ooh there. You go ahead.
All right, this is Dice Miner.
This is Dice Miner.
This is a dice drafting game.
Yes.
So this
some
is
dice drafting. Got some dice chucking.
got a couple dice chuck moments.
1 billion points.
There's a lot of points to be had in this one. This is a game where you are dwarves excavating
a whole mountain.
3 mountains throughout the game that are going to be comprised of these dice. You're actually going to make a physical stand for the mountain that makes a little dice pyramid.
Yep.
And you can collect a die from the kind of topmost exposed part. You're sort of representing you digging down in the mountain. And there are a bunch of different types of dice. They each have different ways they score, and you are going to be trying to, collect dice to achieve certain goals. There's, for example, tunneling dice. They look kind of like standard dice, and you're going to want to make sets of 1 through 5 in order, 1 pip, 2 pip, 3 pip and stuff to be able to score as many points as possible for those tunneling dice. There's these gems you can unearth, and you want to get as many of those as possible because they're each worth a point, and the player who has the most points gets double gem points.
Right.
There are hazards and things that can be negative points for you, but you can get defensive stuff to turn those negatives into positive.
Yep.
And there's this fun kind of trading mechanism in the game where every die type has one face that shows a beer on it.
Yep.
Dwarves and beer.
They love their beer.
They're like this. And so what you can do is if you have any dice in your little trove, your collection of dice that show a beer, you can pass it to a player. So you say cheers, and you give them that die, they roll it, and it becomes a die in their trove. And then you can take 2 dice from the mountain, and instead of having to take from the very topmost exposed part, you can take from the top or any of the exposed sides. So you get 2 dice, you are giving up 1, so it nets out to the same, but you get greater control over the type of dice you have and are collecting. And then every round where it's really fun is you score your stuff, then all the dice you've collected, you take all of them, you roll them out, they stay in your collection, and then you start drafting a second mountain. So you get more dice in your trove. So this is great kind of build-up.
It's got this really nice crescendo with that, where there's 3 rounds, and every round you're getting cooler, you're getting stronger, but you do have to roll all those dice. There are also these kind of like bluish, purplish dice that are magic dice.
Yep.
That allows you to re-roll stuff. So if you have, your tunneling dice, you want 1 through 5, that'll be the full 15 points. If you have like 1, 3, 4, 5, and then another 1, you might want to roll that 1, try to get a 2 to get a full set there, something like that. But it's got this really, really nice build-up, as we were saying, this really nice crescendo where you kind of keep getting cooler and cooler and more powerful. And this is also a game, like most of these games, they're just going to scale very well, which means it plays really well with multiple player counts. So, Dice Miner, it plays great with just 2 players. It plays great with 3, with 4. But the really fun thing with 2 players is there's no scaling in the amount of dice. A lot of times in board games, when you have more players or less players, you'll like take out certain things, put in certain things to kind of balance the game. This game doesn't balance it at all. It's like, no. With 2 players, you're drafting the same amount of dice. So you just end up with 30 dice by the end of it. It's incredibly fun. All the dice are these really, really nice custom dice that they made for this game.
Really well constructed.
It's just really, really fun. It's very simple. Like we kind of just taught you the whole game, to be completely honest, but it's got a nice look to it with that little mountain, those beautiful dice. You can kind of teach it to everyone. It's a nice 30-minute game, and so you can play it like on a lunch break. You can play it as a quick little filler in between games. You're like, hey, let's play a quick game before we go to bed. You can play that one real quick. It's just very, very fun. It's very satisfying, and we just really, really enjoy this one a lot. Divisive?
Thematically?
For sure.
Yeah, this is Moon Colony Bloodbath.
Moon Colony Bloodbath, baby.
This is when we say divisive, this is a game that came out recently, and we've heard a lot of praise.
I think it's a bona fide classic already.
And a lot of folks who are 50-50 on it. We love it.
I love it. And this is a great game. This is, I really like it. I do think it's a good kind of, again, quicker, slightly heavier than like a baby's first board game kind of thing, but pretty easy to get into. But this is an interesting game where you are building out a moon colony, but it's called the Bloodbath because it's going to go real bad for you.
Everything is going to go wrong.
It's going to go wrong, but this has what is called an engine building game and a tableau building game where you're going to be getting these cards, and these are cards that are like representative of things in your moon colony. So you have like this kind of like food court, or you have like this thing, like various sleeping quarters, all these different things, and you're getting these cards, and you're going to be playing them out, and those are going to give you preferably some kind of bonus and some kind of maybe a little bit of a special power, but they're also going to give you population. This game is all about getting population because at the end of the game, whoever has the most population is going to win. Now, you're each probably going to have like 3 because of the Bloodbath, but
yeah,
you might also have none, and it's just the last person standing. So you're basically trying to gain as much population so that when things start going wrong, and they will, you basically have enough population to outlast everyone else. And the game is done through this, basically this deck of cards, where you're just gonna flip over the top card and stuff's gonna happen. Sometimes it's very innocuous, like little things here and there. Sometimes something bad is gonna happen. People are just gonna lose population.
There's robots, they go crazy.
They're helpful, but they're always
killing your people.
They're always gonna kill people. But there's also these action cards that come out, and when those come out, there's gonna be 4 in each round. Everyone will get to choose one of the actions can do. You can like do a mine action, which will give you some money. You can do like a farm action, which will give you some food that you can turn into population. All these different kind of things. You can play those cards like we talked about. And then as bad things can happen, you have your population in the form of these little cardboard chits, and you also have population on those cards that we were talking about. So as you're losing population, you can lose those chits or you can lose those cards because those cards have population on them.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is a lot of those cards will give you bonuses when you get rid of it. So a lot of it is like, well, I'm gonna put this one out there and I'm gonna actually have this building go out first because I want that cool bonus. This game is really, really great. There are these kind of like disaster-y kind of games out there. It's a thing that's in board games. The problem with a lot of them is like you start off the game immediately getting assaulted by the game.
Yeah.
Which is like the point of this. But with the Moon Colony Bloodbath, what I like about it is that you get to like spend some time in the game just building out your moon colony.
Yeah.
Some bad stuff's happening here and there, but it's very, very manageable. You're able to grow. You're able to put out cards, get this engine going, and work that engine, and then stuff starts getting ripped out of it. And it's having that time to build up and then play with that engine before it all goes to crap is really important.
Yeah, I think the game arc is really what for us works here, is that you get to build up a cool tableau of cards. Many of those cards will make the actions you do more valuable.
Yes.
So now if I do a mining action, if I have 3 cards that are attached to that action, I will do my main action and then all of those cards. Yeah. So you feel like you're getting a lot done. You get a chance to build up. You get your population really going. And then, yeah, there's this kind of like slow trickle at first of like negative stuff happening, but you're like, I feel fine, I feel good. And then you get into like what is inevitably going to be like the last round, and you're just getting hammered.
Yeah.
But so is everybody else.
Yes,
so the
that's
game
also
isn't punishing you specifically.
It's not personal. Yeah.
It's just happening to everybody. And I think that also helps.
It's just camaraderie you get.
Yeah, you're kind of all just like, how many you got? He's like, I got 5 people left, man. He's like, I can't see that robot again. And it is really enjoyable. So you get the nice satisfaction of building up. You get the enjoyment of seeing it all get torn apart and just trying to stay ahead of the curve a little bit to be kind of that last person standing, or at least the one who's thriving the most when the game ends. It's really, really fun. You have to be into kind of just embracing the theme, which is done in a very kind of lighthearted, silly, campy way.
The campy nature of the theme, yes.
But if you can get into that, I think it's a really fun one that you stay engaged with most of the time because almost everything is simultaneous.
Next up is going to be the Quest for El Dorado. This is a game that has, again, like trying to have a bunch of different mechanisms. This main mechanism is a racing game where you are trying to race each other, and a deck building game.
Yeah, deck building game is the type of game where you are going to start off, typically everyone will have the same or a very similar set of cards. They're usually okay.
They're usually pretty boring.
They're not that great. And then throughout the game, you are going to be purchasing better cards so that you hope to have these turns where you draw all the best stuff all at one time and get to do these super turns. There's this nice build up. And in this game, it's also framed around the idea that you are racing to the lost city of El Dorado.
Get some gold.
Trying to get all that gold. And you're going to have to do this by traversing a map with various, every space will have icons, a type of icon, and an amount, and that's going to be the cards you have to play to be able to enter into that space. So there's like jungle spaces. Those are going to need cards that have a machete symbol. You're cutting your way through the jungle. There's these markets which will require you to use your money cards. There's water that you'll need to use your oars and stuff. So you are trying to kind of buy cards and manipulate your deck of cards to be able to navigate what's kind of directly ahead of you. You might be able to pick out a route and say like, okay, I'm gonna do a bunch of thick jungle stuff. The thickest parts of the jungle make a quicker direct route, but I'm gonna need more powerful cards for that. So what we really enjoy is it's a deck building game, but there's a lot of kind of intuition with it.
Yes.
It's like I can see where I'm trying to go, and I see the icons on the board that I need to be able to go through those spaces, so I can then figure out, okay, I should buy those cards because it's going to make it easier to go through those sections of the board. The thing we love about this game is it's a different kind of puzzle every time.
Yes.
There's all these different types of cards and the way they kind of enter into the market throughout the game. Like not every type of card is available all the time.
Basically, there's a little stack of card. Once it empties, then the next player will get to choose what card comes into the market. So you also don't have to teach everything up front.
Yeah, you can kind of explain card types as they come into the
and
market.
they're all pretty straightforward, but it's kind of nice to have that. And it's just, and the map of these kind of big old hex tiles, I have a bunch of little hex spaces on them, but you can arrange those tiles technically however you want. In the rulebook, it has a bunch of different layouts, but you can just throw them all together, do whatever you want. And so that is massively going to change the game. Just the way that certain, thicknesses of the jungle or the water or whatever are certain together in certain ways is going to make the game kind of different every single time. And then again, you can choose those cards different every single time. It's just really, really cool. But it's just simple. It's understandable and intuitive like we were talking about, where it's like, oh, I need to get through this really dense part of the jungle. Okay, I should probably buy some more of these machete cards because I literally can't get through the jungle with what I have right now. Yeah. I need to get these higher cards.
Get better tools.
You got to get better tools. It's just really, really good. It's got great art. It's just got an interesting feel to it. And it's also one nice thing about this is the main problem with a lot of race games is you can get what's called a runaway leader, where someone's just so far ahead, no one's ever catching them. Because with deck building, there's always a little bit of luck in there because you might just draw something that doesn't allow you to move.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but that's just part of deck building. And so even if someone's really far ahead, they're always going to hit a part where they slow down massively. And this game always ends up being a photo finish, at least every time we play it.
Yeah, it always ends up really, really close. And the other thing that's kind of cool is the cards that you're playing, some of them show money symbols, which is how you buy other cards or traverse through the markets. But you can always discard cards at the end of your turn for $50 each. So if you have like cards on your turn that aren't really working for you, you can at least turn them into something valuable still. To be able to maybe buy a better card for the future. That's something I really appreciate. It's just like a little bit of a consolation. Maybe helps get you out of the jam because you can manipulate, the cards you're buying and stuff a little more easily and kind of move through. And again, the intuitive nature of this game is what makes it a great one for newer gamers, is that things make sense. You see the icons on the hex you're trying to enter, and you just need to play the cards that equal to that thing to be able to kind of move forward. And I think it kind of helps just smooth things out, makes things make sense. It's always a tight race every time and a different puzzle every time with the way those tiles come together.
Next up is going to be a game called Santorini. This is going to be your kind of like abstract strategy game. So an abstract strategy game is like chess.
Your chess type game.
Your chess type game. And this game is like chess. It's on a kind of a grid board. And this is a very simple game where you're in Santorini. Santorini is an island in Greece. It's very, very pretty. And they have these kind of classic Santorini buildings, these kind of like white buildings with these blue domes on top. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, very picturesque.
And so in this game, what you're doing is you have two little workers, two little people with little hammers. And basically on your turn, you can move one of those workers and then you can build a level of the building in one of the 8 spots around that worker, because again, they're on a little grid. And so if you put like a little building down, next turn you can maybe walk up that building because you can always go up 1 floor. And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the 3rd floor of a building. If you get either of your workers to a 3rd floor of a building, you immediately win. But there is a 4th floor to the building, and that is one of those blue little domes. So if you're about to go up to if Mike's about to go to the 3rd level, I need to get to that thing and put a dome on top because now he can't stand there anymore. So this game is all about tactics and about trying to work your way into a position on the board where your opponent cannot stop you from getting to the 3rd floor. And that's the whole game. Like that is the game where it's like on your turn, you move and build. That's literally the entire game. But the cool thing about this game is that alone is just a nice, clean, abstract strategy game that's got a lot of tactical head-to-headness, But then on top of that, it's in the base game, there's all these god powers.
Yeah, these little god powers are something you can choose to play with, and we recommend after you played a couple games.
Definitely play with them. You'll
play
never
with
go
them
back
and-
once you start.
Yeah, and they're going to give you an ability that you can do that is unique to your opponent. Some of them give a alternate win condition for the
Yes.
game. They're going to give you some amount of uniqueness
Yes.
that then your opponent has to also contend with. So it might
Yes.
allow you to build in a different way. It might allow you to move further on a turn than normal, and on and on and on. So that is what's really cool is like the game itself, you have these two workers, you're trying to manage and work around the board and build in such a way that you can guarantee yourself a victory because you
Yeah.
have two victory conditions, and that's exciting on its
Yeah.
own, but then mixing in the those powers just adds this new wrinkle
It does.
every time.
There's like one where they can add a dome anywhere.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be on the
top.
fourth floor. So you're like on the second floor, like boom, dome, and it's just like, dang it. But then there's also one where it's like when you're up on a floor, you can just jump down to the bottom. But one of the win conditions is like if you jump down from the second floor, you win.
Yeah.
So they need to like keep you from even getting to a
Yeah,
second
so you have to
floor.
try to build on stuff, so you're
or
always
like
reacting.
you're on the second floor, so I put a building underneath you over here, so
Yep.
you're only jumping down one floor. There's all these weird little tactics. Not to mention, this game is beautiful. It's got great art.
gosh,
It's got
yeah.
this great like 3D board where it's literally off the table a little bit. The buildings are these nice 3D buildings. It's got this great table presence. Not to mention that this game is by a company called Spin Master, and occasionally Spin Master just basically be giving games away.
Yeah, they sell stuff
Sometimes you can
for
find
so cheap.
this game for like $10, even though like it's usually like 30. Sometimes
Yeah.
they'll just be like, "We want to sell a bunch here. It's for $10." So like keep an eye on Spin Master because like they make great games, and sometimes they're just straight up giving them away. But Santorini is so simple to learn, but you can. It's one of those you can kind of learn it in 5 minutes and play it more or less forever. Santorini is a great one.
Oh, Yote. I like the art. Sam, what's this game about?
Potatoes.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's like little potato pieces. What do you do with the potatoes?
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Nah, I don't think you're cooking stuff. I think it's like an auction game.
Lovely big golden chips with a nice piece of fried
Okay.
Vic.
All right. Yeah. You hungry, buddy? You had second breakfast because we're trying to play a game. All right, man. Maybe you can just take a little break. Frodo, are you in?
What do you know about it? Nothing.
All right. Enough of the hobbits. Boromir, you want to play?
Shouldn't be mine. It should be mine. Give it to me.
We're gonna share it. We're gonna share the game. We're gonna share it. All right. Bilbo, my man, you gotta play, right?
I feel thin, sort of stretched, like butter scraped over too much bread.
Saruman?
Your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind.
All right. Well, Gollum, it's just you and me, buddy. You wanna play?
What's this, precious?
I just can't. I can't. Today's sponsor is Mighty Boards, and this is Yote. This is a bidding style game using, yes, potatoes to bid on these tier 1, 2, 3 in cards as you kind of build out a landscape that's going to go for as much charm as possible. Maybe that includes you having a ski resort, building up forests and mountains. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna place your markers onto cards to effectively bid on them. Some of them are gonna be straight up potato costs. Other ones, you're gonna put potatoes into a box and maybe bluff a little bit to put a bid out for a card. And other players can also bid on that card. Certain cards are gonna have requirements of having certain other types like mountains and forests previously in play in order for you to take them. And you're trying to manage that sweet potato economy to get the higher level 2 and 3 tier cards to be able to score as much charm as possible. So if you want to check this one out, there is a link in the description of this video. And a big shout out to Mighty Boards for sponsoring this top 10.
Speaking of Spin Master,
Speaking of Spin Master, Marvel United is our next game, and they have a contract with Spin Master. And occasionally, this game also goes on sale for insanely
there's
cheap.
at one point where they were selling it on Amazon. Spin Master was selling it on Amazon for $5.
Yeah.
Insane.
Crazy.
So they're not always doing that, but keep an eye on Spin Master. Sometimes they're doing crazy stuff.
They do stuff. So this is Marvel United. This is a cooperative game set in the Marvel universe of superheroes.
Weird.
And you are going to be each inhabiting a hero, of which there are across all the versions of
In the base
Unmatched.
game, there's like 8.
There's 8
but
or
yes,
so.
there's
There's a ton.
hundreds now, probably.
Yeah, if you wanted to collect it all,
there's a lot of content
there's
for this game if
plenty.
you want it.
You don't need to do that, but it's out there. But you're going to be playing a superhero, which are going to have a small deck of cards. A lot of which are kind of like standard action type things, and then a couple of things that are uniquely,
I
kind
think
of.
they have 3 cards each.
They give that feeling of that superhero.
the Hulk smash kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of stuff. And you are going to be working together to take down a villain. So there's
big
always going to be a main villain that you are all trying to overcome. There's going to be kind of some schemes they're doing. You need to deal with those first and then go and attack the big bad. And you're going to be doing this through playing one card at a time. And what's really cool is it has this kind of like piggyback card system, which makes it feel really cooperative.
And that's why we chose this one over a lot of other cooperative games, is because this game is true. Because a lot of cooperative games, like you're just all on the same team, which is great. Like love those kinds of games.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But you're just all on the same team. You're not really like interacting with each other or even really helping each other out. You're just kind of all working towards the same goal. In this game, you're actively cooperating with each other because basically, I will play a card and I will get to do the things on those cards, which will be like symbols. You have like little punch symbols, which takes out like thugs. You can like rescue bystanders with these like stars. You can move. But I get to do all the stuff on my card and all the stuff on the card before mine, which in this case would be Mikey's card. So a lot of times you're like, oh, I need to move. Michael will go like, oh, I'll play a card with move on it. So then on your turn, you
have
then
that
can
symbol.
move. So you're constantly discussing with each other what you each have and talking about like, how can we help each other to get like, oh, you have a person there? Okay, I'll make sure there's a punch symbol on mine so that you can use that on your turn to do these kinds of things. And so it's really, really, truly cooperative where you're working together, but just dead simple with the way it works.
Yeah, it really is a very approachable game.
Yes.
Both in look, the style is really cool. It has these really cool minis that are just kind of friendly and fun. They just really look like toys, like awesome toys. And there's only a few types of symbols, and like the move symbol, the kind of attack symbol, your little specials and things. And so I think everyone can kind of hop into this.
Yeah.
The characters themselves have a little bit of uniqueness, but there's a lot of like overlap as well.
Yes.
The villains provide really interesting, different, challenges to overcome. That's where we think the game really sings, is where you can find a lot of variety. But yeah, it's all meant to be very playable by kind of anybody.
Yeah, it's just really cool. And like I said, there's a ton of content for this game. They've run a number of Kickstarters. A lot of that Kickstarter content you can't really get, but there's like multiple base sets. There's like an X-Men one. There's like a multiverse one. There's like a Batman one, which I don't think you probably can combine them. I don't think legally they'd say you can, but I'm sure you can.
Try it out.
I think DC and Marvel would not like to say that to each other. But like nonetheless, there's tons and tons of stuff out there for this if you want to. But again, the villains are so cool. They're so different. Like the Green Goblin's constantly capturing bystanders, and you can't ever attack them if they ever have a bystander, because that's what the Green Goblin does. He's always swooping and grabbing people, right?
Yeah.
It's just really, really fun. It's so approachable, and it's truly, really cooperative for a cooperative game. And again, sometimes it's like $5.
Nick, are we thinking of the same game right now?
That's right. Same word. 1, 2, 3. April.
Empire's End. Okay. Sorry. It's Wavelength.
It's Wavelength.
We're talking about the game Wavelength. In the game, you're trying to be on the same wavelength mentally with your teammates. This is a party-style game.
Yes, it's kind of a party game reflection.
I think party games are
This really could just be all party games, let's be honest. This whole
100%.
list.
Yeah, we're trying to give you a varied list, but party games are good because they're meant to accommodate a lot of people, and they're usually very easy to get into and have big moments of fun.
Yes.
And for our money, Wavelength really exceeds in the fun category. So this is a game where you're going to be on teams, and each turn there's going to be a
kind
player,
of barometer. Yeah.
a player giving a clue based on this kind of barometer. So there's going to be this really cool kind of circular piece. You're going to be given basically a card that's going to show two things on the opposite ends of a spectrum. So to use something very simple, it could be hot and cold. One end is going to be something that's really hot. One end will be very cold.
Fast, slow.
And on this kind of this little disc you're seeing, you're going to have a specific number or a certain range you're trying to get your team to guess in. So this is a randomly generated thing where you can see from the hot to cold side, it's kind of here-ish. So it's on the fairly hot side. It's not at the very, very end, but it's, it's warm. And then based on what you get, you have to try to give a clue that's going to point people in that general area of the range. So, I'm not going to say the sun, because that's probably way over
hotter.
here. I'm going to say Palm Springs.
It's pretty hot.
Pretty hot.
But not that hot.
Palm Springs in summer.
Yeah.
Pretty hot.
But so the funny thing,
Hotter than not. You know?
It's harder than not. But the thing about this game, and so then your team would basically have to guess. We think they'll basically set this thing like we think the range is in right here, and then basically you'll reveal the range. And then if you're within that range, you'll score a certain amount of points. That's what you're trying to do. But the thing with this game, which is so much fun, because you're like Palm Springs. Palm Springs is very cold next to the sun. But if we're talking about like places in California, it's one of the hottest.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like a lot of this comes down to like, how are people actually thinking about this?
Yeah.
Because like there was
How
one.
do they perceive?
Yeah, because
these
you're like,
qualifiers?
well, yeah, it's cooler than lava, but
Which is also on Earth, so
you know, so it's like one of those things. And so a lot of times you're like really playing the group you're playing with, where you're like, what is my team? How is my team going to interpret this? Because there was the kind of example I always give was the barometer was quiet to noisy, right?
Sure.
And someone said Saturday night at a convention.
board game convention.
At like a board game, because we were at a board game convention, we were playing it. Saturday night at a board game convention is loud. Now, is it as loud as standing next to like a nuclear blast? No. But again, within the confines of a convention, it's like the loudest, right?
Yeah.
And so it's this thing, we also have this weird meta game. We were like, wait, what confines are we talking about? Are we talking about the whole world, everything that's ever been loud? A Supernova's probably pretty loud.
I would
You
think
know,
so. I
probably
would
blow
think
out
so.
these bad boys.
Yeah,
you know?
don't want to be next to a jet as it's going Mach 2. you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. But it's like within the confines of a convention. Saturday night convention is really loud.
Yeah.
And it was
Versus
way,
sitting at home in your living room.
Or like back in your hotel room
There's a
or
lot
whatever,
more
yeah.
ambient noise.
So a lot of this is like this interesting meta game that you're playing where you're trying to be like, okay, but like within the confines of what I'm talking about, this is actually loud. It's really, really fun. It's so easy. You can play with like technically as many people as you want because the groups can be like infinite size or whatever. It's just fun. You can kind of play a couple rounds, score if you want to. You don't even really need to be completely
Yeah,
honest.
it's just all about creating those moments of that crosstalk.
Yeah, where you're talking about it forever,
You learn
right?
about each other. Like another example quickly is it was, valuable to not valuable.
Yeah.
And
It was quality.
quality or something
High
like
quality,
that.
low quality, I think
Yeah,
is what
high
it was.
quality, low quality. And Tupperware came up where it's like, well, this is a high quality thing in terms of like usefulness in life.
No, specifically was I said Pyrex.
Or Pyrex, yeah. Specifically, it's a very high quality Tupperware.
Yes.
And then people are like, other people are saying like, well, Rolex is like high quality for a watch and this and that. So you get something like Pyrex, you're like,
So it kept
what?
being like,
You're
well,
like, no, but
Lamborghini-
compared to like cheap plastic
I'm like,
Tupperware, this is,
in the world of Tupperware,
Yeah, that's where we
Pyrex
are.
is the highest.
yeah. And so it just creates these like hilarious moments where you're like, so you think about this that way. Okay, that's interesting.
okay.
It's a good way to learn about your friends for sure. And I think for us, the best party games are the ones where you're like, keep score or just
No.
who cares? Because you're having way too much fun to like truly worry about who's going to win.
Next up is going to be a game called Acropolis.
You know it.
A lot of people for this kind of game, they'll put like something like Cascadia, which we put on before. But we're going to talk about Acropolis because I think Acropolis doesn't get as much love. But these kind of like
good.
pretty lightweight tile laying games are they're so fun and satisfying.
Yeah, so this is a game where you're going to be placing out these little tri-hex clumps, these little 3 hexes together, tiles, out into a city. You're building a city.
Yeah, to the Acropolis, yeah.
These tiles are going to show different types of districts. There's different colors, essentially. There's going to be like blue, red, purple, yellow, and green.
Yep.
And each of these types of districts will have a different way they want to be arranged in your city to be able to score points.
Yep.
So the blue ones are your kind of housing. You want to make ideally one giant group of connected blue tiles. The yellow are markets. You don't want 2 markets touching each other because they're going to be competing with each other. So you just want to make sure that they are not next to each other. The red are the barracks. You want them on the outside of your city. They need to have at least one edge exposed because they're protecting the city, and on and on and on. But what's really fun about this game is you are not only building out, but you can also start to stack up and build tiles above others, which is going to make their value, double or triple. So if a blue tile, is 1 district toward this group, if it's on the 2nd level, it's actually adding 2 districts to that group.
Yeah,
And
or
then there's
3
going to be these
districts.
plazas, which have these stars, which are your multipliers. You ultimately want a bunch of districts, but you also need to have those plazas for them to be worth anything. Because you can have 1 million tiles of a color. If you don't have a single plaza of that, it's da-da-da times 0.
Yeah.
which
Where
is
you have
not ideal.
a plaza with 4 stars, and you have, let's say, 8 blues in one big group. It's going to be 8 times 4, which of course is 118.
We all know that. And so, yeah, I think this is a game that, like a lot of these other, you mentioned Cascadian stuff, you want something that has super simple rules.
Yes.
On a turn, you're going to draft a tile. There's kind of a row of them. The first one in line is free. If you want to take something beyond the first or second, you have to drop off a stone along the way. So, of course, you have to have stone to be able to do that. And then you just add your tile to your city, either stacking up or building out. As you stack up, you can cover these quarries, which aren't worth anything on their own, but they give you stones. That's how you can get more of that. But that's really kind of the totality of the rules.
Yeah, but like with all these kinds of games, is you want interesting decisions. All
Yes.
great board games boil down to one thing. Are the decisions you're having to make interesting? That's why
Sure.
we kind of crap on a lot of games like Life, because you're not really making any decisions, right?
Stuff's just happening to
It's just
you.
happening to you. You're just experiencing it, which is fine if that's what you want, but we always want interesting decision spaces. And so with this one, it's like where you're placing your stuff, what districts you want to focus on. You're like, you know what, I'm going to go over a whole bunch of reds. So I need to draft like every red plaza I see and get a whole bunch of reds on the outside. But then one of the biggest, most interesting decision spaces in the game is when you're stacking stuff up, because when you're stacking stuff up, you're covering things up. Now, if you're covering up quarries, that's great because you're getting stone and they weren't going to score you anything anyway. But for the most part, you're going to be covering up other districts. You're like, you know what? I'm not really doing markets. I'm not doing yellow. Screw it. I'm going to put this over these yellow districts because I'm not really scoring them anyway. And that's a really interesting kind of sacrifice you have to make where you're like, well, this is now better because this is higher, but I'm losing points underneath this now. And it's a really nice, interesting, but still very, very simple way to, simple game to get into. It's just so good.
I think that's what it comes down to. Is like the turns are easy, they go by quick, but you get to make meaningful decisions throughout the entire game. You have a lot of agency in the way you build your city, so you can do it all sorts of ways. There's different things to consider with every tile you place. So games that get the rules part as simple as possible just gives you more brain space to think about how you want to approach your strategy for this game. And it does all that in like 30 minutes as well. So it gets a lot of fun stuff done, but doesn't take up your whole day. And that for us is just Chef's Kiss delicious.
Next up is definitely going to be the biggest game on the list, and this is going to be Heat Pedal to the Metal. We tried to keep this list not too heavy. Sometimes these lists, because we're all already board gamers, Mike and I have been gaming for like 15 years, you tend to be like, well, these are my favorite games, so you should have these. And it's like those games a lot of times are just like a little too much. And a lot of times board games can be somewhat expensive. And so we're also trying to keep the games somewhat smallish so you're not having to spend like $1,000 on your first 10 games.
Don't do that right away.
Because board games can be over $100 very easily. So it's just like we want to make sure that like you're not doing. But Heat is definitely the biggest game on the list.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest game.
But it's also got a ton of content
Exactly.
in it.
So-
And that's why we're like, it should be on the list.
Yeah, so we recommend this one. It is a little more expensive than some of the other ones on the list, but you do get a lot of content. This is a racing game where you're racing cars around different
Formula
tracks.
One, which I hear is very popular.
Yeah, I think it might be like pre-Formula or maybe the early days. It's in the past, so it's like early days Formula One, man, with things were
Everyone's just riding goats.
riding goats. Oh man,
If only.
TM, we're making that game. We've had camels, now we have goats. Yeah, so you're racing cars. This is a hand management game. You're going to have a hand of cards that are going to be able to be played to give you kind of your speed, the amount of
far you can move.
spaces you're going to move. And this is going to be dictated by what gear you're in. So you're going to be shifting gears. You can shift up each turn. You can shift down. You can spend some heat from your engine to shift, twice. And whatever gear you're in, third gear, second gear, whatever, that's going to be the amount of cards from your hand you must play. So you have to play that amount. And these cards are going to have, between values 1 and 5 with different module stuff. You might have different things like that, but the standard cards are in the basis most version of the game, 0 to 5.
Yep.
And you are going to be trying to go as fast as you can down this track, but you're going to come across all these corners where you're going to have basically a speed limit imposed, where it might be the maximum speed you can go through this corner safely is 7. That means that the value of my cards that I play, all 2, 3 cards, whatever, based on my gear, cannot exceed that number without having to pay some heat from your engine. So you have cards that just show, a little heat symbol. in your engine. You can basically use that heat from your engine to help power you through that turn, even if you're going above that recommended speed. So I can go through at a speed 8 or 9 or 10, so long as I can pay heat for every speed I'm going over that limit.
Yep.
So with that,
You really crank around
you
the corner.
really just hammer it.
Yeah.
But you run into the problem of that heat is now in your kind of circulation of cards, which don't do anything
just
for
kinda
you
gunk
while
up
they're
your
in your
hand.
hand.
Yeah.
They just take up space. So that can become a problem where it's like, A, I'm having less cards that less choice of my cards because I'm just drawing a bunch of this heat. And then you have to be able to get that heat into your engine again. So you have to kind of usually shift down into lower gears to be able to kind of put that heat back in your engine. And as you're spending that, now you might have less of those resources to use as you go to future turns. So you might run into the problem where you go through a turn too fast and you don't have enough heat to pay and you're going to spin out, which is not ideal.
Right.
So you are trying to, play your cards correctly, literally. Decide when to kind of slow down, when to speed up, because again, whatever gear you're in dictates how many cards you must play. So I can go through a turn in gear 3 because maybe my cards are like 1, 1, and 2. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm actually at a high gear, but I'm not going that fast. But you might also get stuck with, I've only got 5s in here, and I'm going to rip through this turn way too quick. And you're trying to be the first one to win the race. So what's really cool about this game is there's
so much
modules.
stuff in the box.
Yeah, you can add like weather effects, which affect certain parts of the track. Really, really cool. There's all these upgraded cards you can get, which I highly recommend you play with. There's ones that will give you different ranges of numbers. They will give you you have 2 choices of numbers. So you can choose. This is going to be a 3 or a 5. So you have some agency there. There are cards that are like really powerful but come at a risk because there's these stress cards you can get, which basically are, I'm going to draw a card off the top of my deck and whatever it is. So I don't know exactly how fast I'm going. And so maybe there's cards to do all this cool stuff, but like,
there's also even like a little campaign.
There's a
little campaign in the game too.
A series of different races.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why we like this one for this kind of list is because, like Mikey just said, like there's all these different modules. But the base game alone, just going for a race on one of the few maps, it's fine on its own. It would already be like, this is a good one to have in your collection, even as a starter. But then having all this other stuff that you can add into the game that does make the game even more interesting, even more fun. It's just so good for this. It's like you can play a wide range of people. You can also play this game solo. A lot of these games you can play on your own solo.
Yep.
And the solo mode in this game is really, really fun too. So it's like, it's just got all of this breadth of play to it. And it's just really, really great. It's a banger. As we said, it's all bangers on this list.
It's been super well supported as well. So if you find that you do like it, there's a ton more maps, more upgrade cards, more ways to play. I think now between all the expansions, you can play like 7 or 8 or 9 players. It starts off at 6.
Yeah.
So on and on and on. There's a ton of content for this one, which is super cool. It says heat pedal to the metal.
Next up is going to be a classic. You got to have some tried and trues on here, and this one's going to be Carcassonne. I do think Carcassonne should be in everyone's collection, and I do think it should be one of the first games in your collection because this is one of the best games to introduce new people to, and if you're new to board games, introduce yourself to it because it's really, really great.
Yep.
This is a great tile laying game where you're building out kind of the region of Carcassonne, and this is a really great game where you're going to start off with just a single tile on the board. Or in the base game, you can start off with this river. And then basically on your turn, you're going to draw a tile, and then you have to place it adjacent to one of the tiles out there. So side to side with one of the tiles out there. And the only real rule is that the landscape has to make sense. So if there's a road going this way, you can't just put a grass field like this because it's going to stop the road. You have to like kind of continue the road. And the roads will have certain stop points on the tiles and things like that. If there's a part of a city, you have to kind of continue the city. So whenever you're placing a tile out, the landscape has to make sense. But other than that, you can really place it anywhere you want. Now, why do you want to place it somewhere is where the game is because as you're placing down these various features on there, the roads, the cities, there's these monasteries, you can place one of your meeples and put it on that road as long as there isn't already someone on the road. And then basically, whenever that road finishes, basically it has 2 dead ends, that road is then finished. And you're going to take your meeple off and you're going to score 1 point for every tile that road is long. So you really want this thing to kind of like wind around for you to get as many points as possible. Cities work in the same way. When you put down a city, as long as no one's in there, you can put a meeple down in there. Once that city closes, you will get 2 points per tile in that city, and the monasteries want to be completely surrounded. Now, where this game comes in is it's really nice because you can kind of play this game kind of as interactive and aggressive as you want. Because one thing you can do in the game is if I start this road over here, put my meeple on it, Mike starts his road here, puts his meeple on it, those roads can join up, which means we would then both get those points. Or if I start a road here, Mike starts a road here, and then Mike starts another road here.
And they all merge.
And they all merge. Mike has 2 meeples on that road. I only have 1. He gets the points. And so you can really just kind of like muscle your way into people's stuff.
It can get
It
spicy.
can get real spicy.
Yeah, but it's also a very chill, cozy game where you just tile laying.
And you can also play it where you're just like not really going to bother each other like that. It's kind of up to you, but it's really, really nice that way where you can kind of choose, because a lot of games are like, you're going to have to be aggressive with each other. This one you can kind of choose the amount of aggressiveness that you can get into. But it's just cool, and it's just so fun that every single time the map is going to look completely different because you're drawing tiles randomly, so you never really know what you're going to get. And so every single time I just like to look at it and be like, wow, this one ended up like this. Cool. And the next time I play, oh, wow, this one ended up like this. Cool. It's just really, really fun.
Yeah, I think it's also cool that, you know, unlike Acropolis, which we talked about, in this one, you're building one central
It's a big
play
shared
area.
thing. Yeah.
So I could try to build this away. Nick's like, that's perfect. I'm going to go right over here and do this thing. So you're having to, you know, think about that. And Nick started this road over here. And like I said, you know, like you said, I could connect up with you with this road I started. And now we're both benefiting. So the fact that we're all working and can manipulate this thing freely, none of this is ours, is really kind of cool and different. And Nick always says this, I think it's such a good point, that if you want to kind of open up someone's eyes to what board games can be, Carcassone's a great start because it either starts with a couple of tiles making a river, or if you're playing base Carcassonne, a tile in the middle of the table.
That's it.
From which the entire game emerges. And that's really cool because everyone's used to seeing, well, Mousetrap, and you have all the things, and the things are set up, and that's how the game looks. That's how board games look, is a big central board and stuff. And plenty of board games are still a big central board. But it's cool to see something that's different. It's like they don't always have to be that. Sometimes the game is going to get built through the play, and it can take any kind of shape you could imagine. So that's just an extra level of fun. But this is a great, obviously, tried and true. Every family in Germany has this game.
Yeah, it's supported for years. If you want to play a cooperative version, there's Mists over Carcassonne, which is kind of like a spooky, ghosty version.
Fun one.
But that one's cooperative, so you're working together to try to... There's tons of ways to play this game.
Tons of expansions, tons of individual standalone versions of Carcassonne, on and on and on.
It's just great. It's so good. It's a classic for a reason. It's been around forever for a reason. They're constantly giving it new versions for a reason. It's just really, really great. And it should be in your collection, especially if you're starting out. It's really wonderful. But nonetheless, that is our top 10. Again, over on our Patreon, we have another 10 games we think would be also great to start your collection with. If you want to check out those. Make sure to get some merch, put it on your body. Thank you so much for being here. And I think that's going to be it, eh?
That's going to be it, everybody. Thank you so much. If you are what you would consider an experienced board gamer, a board gamer of any level, and you think you have games that you would recommend to start a collection, please put them in the comments below. We really hope this video is going to get out to people who are maybe newer to the hobby. So let's get a big old list of recommendations for anyone that's coming by looking for games to kind of start to populate their shelves with. So get those in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you're new to us, we are the Brothers Murph. Please consider subscribing, getting that merch, all the things Nick said, and we will see you all in the next Top 10.
Bye, everybody.